Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversation. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Don't see what's yours for the taking tonight. Ooh, show me your soul, baby. I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Can't you see it's way past time? How it's I mean, I spell it out before you get it, baby. Show me your soul, and honey, I'll show you. I'll show you.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. How's everybody doing today? Welcome to 3-3, the third day of the third month of 2021. It's March 3rd. Welcome to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. I'm your host, Laura Michaels Harris, and I don't think I'd rather be anywhere else in the universe, except maybe Fiji, than right here with all of you today, fulfilling the promise that where two or more come together, it's not that something could, would, should, or might happen. It's a promise. It's going to happen. Today's no exception. I want you to help me welcome to the show, as always, my own Ed McMahon, the version of Ed McMahon in my world. This is Lucy McGillicuddy Ricardo. Welcome to the show for the 5th year. We're drinking on some buttery toffee coffee today. Buttery toffee coffee. Don't taste like nothing but Maxwell House, but we buy it. So that's the bell of purpose. You know what it means, right? It means that when you hear that bell ring, it's your opportunity. It's our opportunity to collectively become a part of something greater than ourselves. What I mean by that is, number one, when you hear the bell, it's a great opportunity. Ooh, you know who ought to be hearing this? Rosetta. Ooh, my good friend Pookie. You, whoever it is, send it out. Send a raven. Do whatever you need to do. Pass it forward. Pass it on. Little things like that provide great opportunities later when you are of service of people unconditionally. Can I get an amen? So, and it also means that somewhere in here, with all of us doing this thing together, someone has said something, dropped something down in the middle of the road that at first may appear to be roadkill, but I'm encouraging us to back the vehicle up and take a look at it. Roll the window down, sniff it out. It may not be roadkill. It may be a super power pill. It's known as a golden or platinum nugget. Pick it up, throw it in the glove compartment, the trunk, wherever you got some room. Just make sure you take it with you, will you please? Okay, so today I'm really excited. You know that this year, season 5 of Bathrobe Moments, our theme is Show Me Your Soul, and I'll show you mine. And you know, mindset is key. Took me, still is taking me, but has taken me decades to get out of my own way. That's hence the term, get out of my head, right? But I really needed to get into my head. That's what I needed to do. I was running from all this ooey gooey chewy center that was at my disposal, and I didn't know it. So today's guest, I brought Dan EC. We're going to find out what that is, EC. EC call home, phone home. I don't know what that is. We're going to find out. We're always trying to figure out middle names here. Put it in the chat what you think EC stands for. Dan EC MENDILOW. I don't think nobody going to get that right. And I got just as country as I wanted to on that. Nobody. So listen. Oh, hi, everybody. Virginia Hodges. Ooh, photographer to the stars is here. Doing my photo shoot for that cover of the magazine in a couple months. Excited. Sherry McQueen, Robert Brooker, and the rest of you, thank you for being here. Virtual hugs to all of you. Now, listen, mindset. Who do you know right now that needs to change that mindset? That's who you need to send this to right now. Invite them in. It may be that moment. It may be that intersection of purpose that they and you and me and we have all been waiting for. Let's get it done. Send it out right now. Why don't you put some hearts on the screen if I get an amen on that? Now, mindset. There's so many places to start. You know, do I meditate? Do I travel to Budapest? Do I go on a retreat? Do I do hot yoga? You know, should I do a vision board? Affirmations. I could just go and you're like this. But the good news is we have somebody here today, Dan EC MENDILOW. I'm not kidding you. I have always wanted to coach with Dan. I just didn't feel like I thought it was way out of my league, you know, because I knew I needed to work, learn, and earn my way towards that so that I could manifest from the experience and also bring to the table what I'm supposed to bring. You know, when we go to people to help us with these things, we shouldn't always, it's not like we got to show up empty-handed. You got to try to find out what you can bring to the table, right? While that's the only way to forget who built the table. You see what I mean? So ego don't get in the way and you think, oh, they're just against me and this and no. You got to be willing to take it all from the rooter to the tutor when you sign up and start working with any kind of coach. And always look for a coach who has a coach. Just saying. So anyway, let me tell you a little bit about him. Then I'm going to get him in here. We're at the 9-minute mark and we like to have our guests in by 10 after. So Dan MENDILOW, what's he do? Dan MENDILOW helps coaches and entrepreneurs ignite their gifts, unleash their truest selves, and create real magic within their lives. He shows them how to connect with their sovereign selves by erasing shame, fear, limiting beliefs, self-sabotage, and replacing all of that with, are you ready? Drum roll, please. Where's Sherry McQueen when you need her? Sherry, anybody, drum roll. Replacing them with self-love, trust, and empowerment. See, those things, the positives got 2 bells and negatives got 1. See, purpose, intentions. Let's see. Oh, Dan also, his clients have called in life-altering opportunities, manifested perfect partners, replaced anxiety and depression with lasting happiness. They've multiplied their incomes and felt more aligned and connected than ever before. He's been named LA's #1 life coach by Yelp for 2 years and has been featured on This American Dream on NBC, CBS, ABC, Fox, and also on iHeartRadio. So you know what's next, right? Do what we always do. Get your hearts on the screen, get your heart into the screen, and let's welcome our guest in true bathrobe moment fashion, because here he comes, you guys. Put yourselves together. Get inside of this moment right now, in the now. Here he comes, Dan EC MENDILOW. Howdy, Dan.
Morning, Lauren. How
are you? Oh, that rhymed. Morning, Lauren. That used to be my radio thing when I was in LA doing the morning show at the Beat, 99.1 FM, the Beat, and KKBT, and it was like Lauren in the morning. It was kind of cool. So welcome. Tell everybody where you're at in the world. I know it's the crack of dawn there. Tell them where you're at, who you are.
I'm in LA.
You're in LA,
LA,
so it's
California.
just 6 o'clock there, a little after.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really.
So tell us, Dan, tell us what you do, all about the NLP. And, I didn't put your credentials on it because there's just so many of them. You've traveled and gotten the grout that you pour between the tiles of what you do for people. Each of us is a tile, but you provide a grout that holds a lot of things together. Talk about all these different things that you help people through, how you get to their core and help them become better people.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it really goes, I think the modalities and like the nuts and bolts of how I do it are less important. Because like you said as well, I've been studying personal transformation psychology since I was 18. I'm 37 now. With certifications up the wazoo, reading books, working with coaches, all sorts of stuff for years. I think what's more important is, why do I help people? As in, like, we have all sorts of sides of mindset. And some people go because they feel like, they want better relationships, or they want better business, or they want better this or that, or they just they're happy. For me, people come to me when they feel like something in their life is just not aligned, like they consistently get in their own way. Like they know they could be, do, and have so much more, but they feel stuck. Like they can't access all of that greatness that they have inside of them, even though they know it's there. And what I do really consists of a few main ideas. One is that feeling right there that we have that mountain of potential that we can't quite get to, is because what we're doing is we're feeling the true us through layers of stuff that isn't us. All this programming from childhood, all these ideas and perceptions that we've received from other people, from our parents or friends or religion or society or culture, whatever. And that's like, that gets in the way, because we have an amazing amount of power. Each one of us has an insane amount of magic that's like tapped in right into us. And we get to feel it every once in a while, but it's like locked up behind a whole mess of self-sabotage, lack of self-trust, feeling like we need to be certain things for other people. Like, well, I'll do this, but I have to be a good son, a good daughter, a good dad. How I should show up and how I should look and how I should be. I help people remove all that stuff. I help people deeply connect with who they really are. And that's why I'm talking about gift igniting, because especially lately, it seems that when my clients start working, they start really doing this stuff, removing the masks, removing the layers of protection that they added on themselves, and really letting them enjoy their true energy, they realize just how amazing they are. They become even more creative. Some become psychic. Some become true sensitive empaths. Some build clairvoyance into their systems. So they literally see the future sometimes. Instant manifestations happen. A lot of my clients will just, I thought this, and 5 minutes later, someone called me with an opportunity to do it. Kind of.
That fast.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. And so what we're seeing here is we are limitless. We have the capacity to bend the rules of reality around us. And what I do is help people do that.
Awesome. Since the onslaught of COVID, I've, a lot of people, you think that, you hear a lot about, we're in survival mode. A lot of people are, especially those with children and whatnot, just doing what they have to do to keep their head above water. But I think that the great equalizer is what I refer to the pandemic as, has helped open up so many millions of people, their mindset, where before it was so caught up in routine. As well as the flip side, there are a lot of people who shrank down inside even further because of lack of socialization, fear, panic, all the things that come with a global pandemic. And so I wanted to do something today, just go through some ideas of the different things that you help people, you guide people to, because you don't do it for anybody. You assist them in doing it for themselves so that it'll stick to the wall like a good piece of spaghetti when it's boiled to the perfect al dente, or if you will. So it'll stick. You want it to stick. You don't want to be stuck. You want your purpose to stick to wherever you throw it, whatever wall you throw it on. So let's start with the beginning. So when we wake up every day, you know, some of us get up and run. First of us, usually we go right to the bathroom. But then after that's done, so everybody heads towards either the coffee pot, or some people drop down and start meditating. Some people have a moment of prayer. Some people, it starts before they go to the bathroom, when their eyes open, before their feet hit the floor. So, but what we're getting at is the topic of daily grounding. So what say you about that? You got any suggestions? How does a person find what is a good fit for them?
Sure. I think it's really important to start off with your intention for the day. I'm not one for rigid morning routine, because I feel like after a little while, it just becomes ticking off boxes and we separate from the real purpose. For me, it's choosing, what do you want to accomplish? What do you want to be? Who do you want to feel like? You know, design yourself. You know, if you've got a day full of meetings, and so you want to feel a certain way in order to kick butt in those meetings, right? In order to present yourself well, I'd say start the day with a few light activities that would let you slowly ramp up into that, into feeling whatever it might be, clear, confident, and excited. And that'll be very different than if you're waking up on a day and you don't have anything to do. And so on that morning, maybe your morning routine would help you feel just really comfy, cozy, and nurtured. You have some other days where a different feeling will be a useful tool for you. So I consider emotions, feelings, your mindset, resources. And so, yeah, you know, you could have 5 things that you do every single morning, no matter what. I mean, I feel like, you know, I have nothing against journaling and meditation and doing a little bit of exercise.
Right.
I used to do it all the time. What I'm into now, which really helps me, is flowing with it every single day. The night before, taking a look at what I'm going to be doing the next day, seeing what are going to be my best emotional resources for this day, to feel like I want to feel, be who I want to be, get what I want to get done, and then cultivate that first thing.
Okay. Makes perfect sense. Now, and I also want to point out, you know, because we have people that work all different shifts and things now, especially now. And so daily grounding, you didn't see, I didn't say morning, but if you have a regular routine, a 9 to 5 kind of routine, does your daily grounding have to take place first thing in the morning, or can it be wherever it fits best for you?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like some sort of grounding first thing in the morning is really important.
Really important, because
I
it's
mean,
like the diving board.
yeah,
The
and
springboard
it
into.
sets the tone for your day. You
Okay.
know what I mean? Like, it's just like your alarm clock. Trust me. Set your alarm clock on something that's really obnoxious, because, and I've seen people who do this, right? Because like, hey, you know, I need something to wake me up. Get this, like, there's one that sounds like a submarine diving, like,
Oh yeah.
that, and see how you feel for the rest of the day compared to if you set an alarm that allows you to gracefully wake up.
Birds and waterfalls and
Yeah,
la la
something
la
that
la
like
la la.
gently pulls you into the day. Same sort of thing. So I do think that some sort of grounding is important first thing. Whether you're reading, writing, exercising, meditating, that doesn't matter as much, as long as it creates the emotions that you're going to use that day.
Right.
Your mental tools. And then a little bit later on the day, whenever you have time, if you then want to do like a real intense grounding, like maybe that's when you do your half-hour meditation, or
Okay.
you do your, your spiritual processes and you really give yourself time. That's totally fine.
Mm-hmm. Now you really hit on something. I remembered. It was funny when you said, how you set the alarm to be something obnoxious or not. I purposely set it once with like beautiful music and stuff and whatever, nature sounds. And when I woke up, I swear I felt like I was in a Sleep Number commercial, because I woke up, I was like, oh, I wake up beautiful, right? So I did. I felt that way. That's how I actually sat up in the bed, because usually it's like, oh, throw this over the side. And I sat up and I was like, la la la. And then one time I remember I had my clock radio set to just come on, and it happened to be on the Pointer Sisters song, Fire. And they were like, fire. And I woke up, where? You know what I mean? And now it took me like 2 hours to calm down, because I was like getting ready to run. I felt like Sweet Brown. Lord, there is a fire. Right. Somebody barbecue. Right. So anyway, I agree. It sets a tone and it's different for all of us. Now let me ask this, then we'll move on. Is it possible to ground for the next day as your last thing the night before, since you're going to be sleeping?
Yes, you can program your unconscious, and you can do all sorts of things with it. It's fun. The night before, you can program your mind to wake you up at a certain time without an alarm. If you really get trained and trust yourself, you can do that, and you'll never need an alarm ever again. I used to wake up like this.
Yeah.
And then if you can do that, right? If you can set your mind to wake your body up at a certain time, then you can also leave little notes for yourself saying,
that's a good one.
But I'm going to wake up feeling, again, the emotions that I want to feel for the next day. So maybe some days, like I want to wake up at 5:30 in the morning and I want to wake up excited like it's Christmas. And you program that into your mind. You're repeating it, giving yourself visualizations, allowing your body to already kind of feel like, hey, these feelings are safe. They're good. They're going to bring us good things. We want to do this because the body will do what is safe, right? And so when you can make that feel like, yes, like I want to wake up 7:30, I'm going to feel graceful and slow and relaxed and easy, and you program that in your mind, chances are when you wake up, you're going to tip to that. And of course, that's skill too, right? So
makes sense.
A couple of times to work on it, to figure out your recipe. But for me, when I'm programming, I don't really need that many visualizations. I'm a very logically based person. So if I can think like, wow, this is what really makes sense and feel right to set me up for the day, my mind will push me into that. Some people are more visual. So your mind, your body will respond to pictures. Some people are more talkative, more in their ears. So they might want to hear beautiful sounds in their mind as they're programming what they're going to wake up to, or maybe feel it in their body if you're more kinesthetic. And that way you're speaking your mind's language. You can program yourself like a clock.
And that's true. I used to do that all the time, purposely not set an alarm and say it's on a day where I didn't have to be up, but I wanted to say, and I can do it at will, say to myself, I'm getting up at 4:44 because that's the time I get up. I can say that and wake up within 1 minute of it on either side within 1 minute. And I used to go, how do I do that? But you're right. And I never connected it that means if you can leave that note, leave some others. Beautiful. Great tip right there. Moving on. So now let's say we've decided to do the grounding, but as always, we get in our own way, and let's go into how we can embrace fear. If you're afraid of anything, say you got a court date, a custody battle, you're going up for that job interview today, whatever it is, you're afraid a check's going to clear before the deposit for that check clear, anything. How can we take fear? Because you heard me, we were talking in the green room, and I believe when we're told to be fearless, doesn't mean we're going to be completely devoid of fear. I think we should always have a little bit that keeps us alert makes our heart pound a little bit more, lets us know we're not being complacent, that we're stretching outside of our comfort zones. So that's where I take fear, and I need a little bit, because that's what gives me high octane fuel and not just regular. So talk about that. What do you say about embracing fear and using it as a catalyst to bulldoze your way through something that appears as an obstacle but really ain't shit?
Sure. Oh man, there's so much to be said about this. So the first thing that we need to know is that any of one of our negative emotions, fear,
Oh, wait, before you say that, you guys put your groundings, what you do, the one thing that you do every day, wherever it is in the day, for grounding. And I want you guys to put what you feel about each one of these topics in when we finish, you know, or as we're doing it, so we can learn from each other. I'm sorry, Dan, go ahead.
Oh yeah, that's cool. So every single one of our negative emotions has a lot of wisdom in there, and fear included. So when people, you know, say they feel the fear and do it anyway, I think that they're missing a really important opportunity, because these fears tell us things. And when we sit with them, if you have time, when we sit with them and really feel into the fear, your body and your mind will communicate with you. Because the idea is not to just push through the fear over and over and over again until you don't feel it anymore. That's an incredibly slow way of handling fear and empowering yourself in order to handle life. If you sit there and allow yourself to feel the fear, listen to the messages and speak with yourself, your mind will show you why you're afraid of it. Actually, what it is inside of you that set up this fear pattern, this resistance. It could be because you've tried something like this before and it didn't work out so well back then, or you heard someone say something about what you can or can't do and you're running up against some sort of judgment. There's always something, because these fears are mostly learned, right? We've learned most of the fears in our life. The two fears that we are born with are loud noises and falling. Everything else is a learned behavior. So if you sit there and you really sink into the fear and question it like a friend, right? Knowing that it holds wisdom for you, eventually you're going to be able to find out when and how and what it is you learned in order to pick up that fear. And then you can work with that and melt it away so that you can use this, like today's experience of fear. Let's say a check isn't, it isn't going to clear, or something is going to happen in court today. You can use this current experience to blow open this resistance of fear, so that not only do you feel better in the moment, but you use it as like a life expansion. You can use this as a real process to empower yourself, not just today, but for the rest of your life, by sitting and feeling it. And in the moment, one of the things that I really like to do is get through and realize that I'm going to be able to handle the worst no matter what happens. So when we stay in generalities, things can feel like monsters. What's going to happen in court? Well, anything can happen in court. And while we're at that point, it can be terrifying because we can catastrophize, right? So what I like to do simultaneously, as I'm sitting there listening, what is it that I'm really afraid of? What is it in me that's bringing this up, so that I can melt it down once I really understand it?
Melt it down.
Also feeling that, okay, well, really, what's the worst that can happen here? Let's get detailed. Okay, I'm going to go to court. This is what might happen. What are the chances of that happening? And then dig again back into myself. And it isn't preparing for the worst. It's checking in and knowing that I'm going to be able to handle it no matter what happens. Sitting there and really making it a concrete thing, because we've all been through so many challenges,
Lord,
so many hardships, and we're still here. We're resilient, we're creative, we're innovative, we're resourceful, we're smart, we can learn. And when we just look at this nebulous monster of what might happen in the future, we can forget. But when we make it real, we can see what's the worst that's going to happen. I'm going to lose a couple grand. Fine. Then I will dig back into myself, to the resources, my genius, and I will figure that out. When we really get into that cycle of learning what it is that we're afraid of, finding those insecurities, finding those lessons, and beginning to detach from them, then looking at the current moment and realizing that we're bigger than it, that we'll figure it out. No matter what happens, we'll bounce back. All of a sudden, we show up as being much, much bigger than that fear.
Right. And we have reference points of where there's proof that that has happened, and we've accomplished that, achieved it many times.
Yeah.
But if you're not willing to remember yourself to not so happy times, then you're going to miss the power behind remembering yourself to those great times. It's a magic carpet that goes and flies in all directions. So when we come back we're going to take a 1-minute break today because I don't want to spend any more time, but my sponsor for today wants his piece of flesh. So we're his ounce flesh. We're going to play that commercial. And when we come back, our next topic, you guys, is going to be, is there power in setting intentions? That and more when we return. Don't you dare go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. We're halfway around the track. And today my guest is Dan MENDILOW, mindset coach, known for the tagline, Rewire Your Mind. And I want to say thank you to my sponsor for today, intentionpen.com. And here is mine that says, through me, not from me. I chose everything that comprises this wonderful pen, and I write intentions every day. And I know that my NBC contract will be signed with this pen with its original ink insert. So, and I'm not putting it up so I can save the ink for 20 years down. No, I'm trying to dry it out as quickly as possible because I've set the intention before the last drop leaves this pen, it will be on the S of my last name on that contract. That's how clear I am about that. Get over to intentionpen.com and think about getting yours. Set an intention to do better. Dan MENDILOW is with us today. And before break, I gave everybody heads up. Thank you for sticking around, you guys. And for those of you who have just come in, welcome to the show. We're talking about a bunch of different things today to help us find our way to the truest ooey gooey center, the essence of who we are and who we can become. So Dan, talk about how important you feel the setting of intentions is.
I think intentions are really important. I take a little bit of a different view, I think, than many people.
Let's hear it.
I think that a lot of times when we set intentions, it's almost like goal setting.
Like
right?
What? Goal setting.
Yeah, it's like I intend to accomplish something or to do something, achieve something, be somewhere by some sort of time, whatever. I think the challenge here is when we set our intentions and they're outside of us, they can set up like weird patterns within us.
Explain that.
It's almost like the problem with goal setting. Goal setting can be very helpful they can also be very limiting, and it can put our attention on things that don't actually matter. Like, a lot of times people will set goals, they'll set aggressive goals, or they will set aggressive intentions for themselves, and they won't hit it for one reason or another. It could be a bigger task than they thought. Some surprises might come up, challenges, whatever, but then they'll use the miss as a way to judge themselves. Right? So if we set an intention and we don't hit it, then we feel bad about it. We feel
like a loser.
Something has gone wrong.
As always, I'm all, yeah.
Here it is again. This always happens to me.
Why do I even bother?
All this disempowering stuff that can come up. So what I recommend is the setting intention of who you're going to be and how you're going to feel, and allowing yourself the space to have your intention be a journey. It's not just an on or an off where, I'm going to set an intention. I'm going to be patient and poised and balanced in this meeting, no matter what people say. Great. It's a great intention. However, if patience is not one of your strong suits and poise is something you're working on, then allowing yourself to take steps in that direction, as in, so if I'm not perfectly poised and graceful and balanced like a Zen master, it's not a failure, because if I took just one step in that direction, if I learned just something that'll help me fulfill this intention eventually, then I've succeeded.
Speaking of Zen masters,
yes,
there's one now. That's you, right? That was you.
Which is funny. Whenever you post a picture, I don't see it.
Oh, you don't see it?
I don't.
That's weird.
Oh, there it is. Now I can see it.
Now you can see it. Okay.
Yeah, that was a really fun photo shoot.
Yes, I'm sure it was. I love it. So Zen master, and Zen is like that's a calmness. Zen is a place, right?
Zen is a state of mind.
A state of mind. And what does that state of mind look like? A Zen state of mind.
Lake.
Chaos free?
Like a calm lake. Think of
like a calm
lake where there's not even like a hush of wind and there are no ripples at all. Totally nice.
Okay. Love that. Here's one. Get ready. I know y'all getting ready to chime in now. I bet you that. I bet you. What about this one, Dan? Baggage. Friend or foe? Because, everybody's like, oh, don't mess with her. She come with a lot of baggage. And we all have baggage.
Sure.
I prefer to say, I started with a bunch of baggage, but when I got rid of the ones that didn't belong to me, I then saw that I don't have baggage. I got luggage. What else am I supposed to pack to go on a lifelong journey? I ain't trying to get on the plane of purpose with a carry-on. I need to check a bunch of shit. You see what I mean? Seriously. Because, if I'm going to be spiritually constipated, I need my spiritual X-lax. I need whatever I know I'm going to need because I know me. I'm not perfect. I'm in the process of becoming perfection. And it may not even be, well, most likely it's not going to be in this world, but this life, but the next. But you know what? It is perfect. As long as I do everything to the best of my ability, like the Four Agreement says, always do your best. To me, that's perfection. Because you did all you could do. How can perfection be out of reach if you've done everything you've done? Perfect is what your definition of your best self. That's what I feel. So you tell us, baggage, friend or foe?
So, I think it's a beautiful thing to bring your past with you. I think it's really important because after all, who are we, right? We're an accumulation of all the other people we've been throughout our lives. What you're seeing right now is just the current physical manifestation of it, but everything that's on the inside has been growing and building. So I think it's an interpretation of how we bring our history with us. Some people bring their baggage and they put it right in front of them. as a blocker or as a defense or as some way so that they can feel better about themselves. And in this case, I don't think it's the healthiest thing in the world, right? It's great to have our history with us and to know who we've been and to know where we've come from. But if there's something there that is getting in your way, these people will put baggage in front of them, trip over it, and blame other people. So,
Amen.
right, in this moment, I think it's really important for all of us to look for these pieces of baggage and do something about it, because the challenges, many of the challenges that we experience now were actually created years ago. The seeds of the struggles that we're going through now were planted when we were children or maybe even before. It's stuff that we've inherited from our family lines. If you've ever heard of like family curses or vows of poverty being transferred or family trauma being transferred down the lines, these are all baggages, right? Learning what they are, really doing the deep work to let them go is incredibly important. So in that way, baggage is a huge friend, because it's not actually the presence of baggage that helps us. It's the process of growing in self-awareness to see that a lot of the challenges that we face in our life are created internally, and make the changes so that we can let go of them and set ourselves free. When we look at it from that kind of perspective, working with our baggage is quite possibly the most important thing that we can do with our time. So it kind of goes both ways, right? It just really depends on how do you view your own baggage and what are you doing about it?
And learning in the now how to pack for the future. You know what I mean? I didn't know how to pack once upon a time, but as soon as I started going on the road 4 to 6 months out of the year, I sure learned, because I got sick of paying that extra baggage fee. So I started rolling up stuff. You know, I Googled it, and there was a woman on there teaching you how to fold stuff. You could pack a whole closet in one thing. And so, you know, even learning, you know, I always overpacked, because I believe things that we do, anything in our outside world is a clue to something going on simultaneously, running parallel inside of my world. And so I was doing out there, packing shit I didn't know. You know, I'm only going for 2 days and I got 16 pairs of shoes. You know, come on. So anyway, good. Baggage depends on what you pack and what you plan on wearing when you get there, right? So what about this? Because a lot of the times when like I mentioned earlier, I had a lot of baggage that didn't even belong to me. And so that was because of things that, like you said, generational curses, this and the other, generational cycles, because they're never a curse. It's not like some voodoo queen set up there. Well, she might have, but you know. But what I'm getting to is this. A lot of it is because we need to learn how to remove toxic influences, whether it's music, TV, alcohol, gambling, the relationship we're in, relationships we're in, whatever. Talk about the removing, if you could, Dan. Rewire your mind, Dan. EC, put your guesses in. I think it's Earl Cletus. Earl Cleotis MENDILOW. Daniel Earl Cleotis MENDILOW. That's my guess. Tell us what you feel about this, toxic influences, and how do we get them out of our space?
I think the important thing is to start with, how did they end up in our space in the first place, right? A lot of them are because we've either felt like they were necessary or they were okay, to a point where we didn't even notice that they were toxic, because there's so many things that we do in order to support the beliefs that we have about ourselves or our lives, or feel better about ourselves or our lives, feel safer. And a lot of that is like, well, you know, how do we allow toxic people into our sphere? Maybe it's because we thought we needed them, or maybe it's because they made us feel better about ourselves, or maybe it's because we were afraid that if we didn't have them in our spheres, then something bad would happen. We'd be alone. Something in our lives would be harder. So when we get to figuring out, oh yeah, you know, I have this this toxic friend in my life because if I cut them out of my life, I'm afraid I'll be alone. We kind of get to the real core of it, which is how we view ourselves, right? Toxic influences could be parents sometimes, and we have a hard time standing up to them or really enforcing our boundaries because we feel like we need to be good kids, or we might be afraid of our parents, or still feel like we are reliant on them for something, no matter how old we get. It always goes back to how we see ourselves and how we see our lives. And it's a point of necessary healing, because if you're allowing toxic influences into your world, like if you are, if you find yourself eating really unhealthy foods over and over and over again, that's a toxic influence. And you find yourself just, I'm always going back to it. Do the tracing, and you find, well, it's because, you know, I feel really negative. I feel really bad about something. Why is that? Because I believe maybe that, you know, I'm unlovable, or I believe I can't do things, or I believe that life is going to be hard for me forever and I need some way to feel better. So I eat, or I drink, or I smoke, or I hang out with these people. See how it always comes from how we view ourselves. How connected we are to our real selves, because our real selves are limitless. Again, we learned that we're limited. We learned from something these negative, disempowering beliefs and perceptions. And so if we want to remove the toxic influences, the very best way to do it is to heal those wounds inside of us so that we don't feel like we need these coping mechanisms. Most of these toxic influences are just coping mechanisms. Well, if we heal and empower ourselves so we don't need to cope, then we will naturally remove those toxic influences, because we'll see them for what they really are.
You better preach. So listen, and that's true. That's true. Because it's like drinking the Kool-Aid, toxic influences. And the thing is, a lot of that in my own journey, getting rid of toxic influences began the moment I removed the toxic version of myself, started peeling it off, because I was lying to myself. For instance, when I was, transforming my body the first time, I realized, well, how come I find myself going down the pancake aisle when that's not even on my list? So I started going around, staying on the perimeter where the living foods are in the grocery store. All grocery stores are the same. Come in, you really right there at the produce, your breads, or, you go around, meats there. And I would stay out of the aisles. If I needed Tide or a dishwashing liquid, I go to some other store that didn't have food, like the dollar store if I had to, wherever, because I had to be honest with myself. So once we start removing the toxic influences, now we get to the part where it's time to start learning how to defend our territory. If you remove all the people in the front row seats and then you don't cordon it off and you let anybody, any old body come and sit down, like all those chairs are out in a garage sale, come and try it out, any old body, you're gonna repeat the thing, and you're gonna have toxicity there again. So what can we do to start putting a virtual or a spiritual ADT system, if you will, around our territory, so that what is greater is willing to increase a safe and protected territory?
So the very first thing is to do whatever kind of deep work you need to do to realize you are worthy, to realize that you deserve love and you don't need to earn it anymore.
Amen. Hallelujah.
And to realize, and I mean, no, not just tell yourself, but wake up feeling like, feel it as if you breathe. And with every single pump of your heart, you have that worthiness, deservedness, that true sense of self-honoring and self-nurturing that will provide you the backbone and foundation to defend your territory, right? Is realizing that you deserve to be treated well, to be honored, to be respected, to be loved, to be cherished and to be nurtured. Without that, defending your territory will sound a lot like attacking other people, because lately, and I've heard a lot of it, people are like, yeah, you know, I learned boundaries today. And they use that as a reason to be mean to each other or to attack each other, right? It's like, well, you better not do this because I learned about boundaries. And it's like prepping for a fight. But as long as you look at it as truly defending your territory, that means that there's an attack, right? So I want to change this, and instead of calling it defending your territory, I want to call it enforcing your own honor, enforcing your boundaries, because good fences make good neighbors. A fence, sure, could be viewed as a way of, hey, you step over this line, I'll shoot you, right? But really, a fence, like a good agreement, sets up a protocol and lets people know how to behave in a way so that they get what they want. People love doing that. We love knowing where we stand with people, how to show up to feel and get the things we want. Well, a boundary could be, well, hey, cross this line and there are repercussions, right? That's a challenge to a fight. But if we look at it and say, hey, this is the way that I prefer to be spoken to, because I deserve it. Right. This is the way that I prefer you speak with me, how you refer to me. I would prefer that you treat my space and my things this way. Saying with what we really want, speaking it really from the heart. Because I think, hopefully, we set up boundaries with people so that we can have amazing relationships with them. It's not just about avoiding pain. If all you're doing is trying to avoid an attack, where's your mind? It's focused on attack. When we focus on creating beautiful relationships, then that's where we're at. And we can say, this is how we have a beautiful relationship with each other. I'm going to enforce it, obviously, saying like, hey, here are the rules.
So, because a boundary is not a boundary if you don't enforce it.
Of course. You have to enforce it. Right. But even then, it's sort of, you're giving them the option. Like within families, a lot of my clients have issues with their parents or their close family members who feel like,
Lord Jesus, yes.
Right? It's like, they feel like, hey, you know, I'm your mom, I'm your dad. That means that I get a pass. I don't have to honor you and respect you like other people do because I'm close.
Right.
Which to me is nonsense. If anything, that should make you even more into that land of honor and respect and patience and graciousness because you're a family member. So the whole thing is, we can look at it and say like, hey, you know, oh, you know, you call me that name one more time, I'm not going to talk with you for a week. And that's like that's so aggressive. Whereas if you come at it and say like, hey, you know, if we speak, I really want you to use these terms. Like if you want to refer to me by something other than my name, here are certain things that you can use. And that allows me to listen to you because I want to. And that allows me to stay open and feel seen and heard and respected so that we can have a beautiful conversation. And just to let you know, if you choose to call me something else, then, you know, I'm just not going to talk to you for a week.
Right. Or I'm just going to beat your ass. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That's my family. They just want to fight.
There are levels of escalation, man. At a certain point, you got to do what you got to do.
Can I see you outside for a minute? Just a second. Right. I don't need much time.
We'll make it.
Put that hammer down first, you know. So listen, what about, okay, so now we've gone through the grounding, removing toxic influences, the setting of intentions, embracing fear. Now we get to the component that is, and I wish we had a whole show for this. We got about 4 minutes left. Touch on this one really quickly. I know.
Embracing the unseen. I mean, we could talk forever with this, but if we're talking about like setting up your space, it seems like the theme that we've been talking about is like setting up your space so that you can have an amazing day, so that you can live the way that you really want to. I think embracing the unseen is really allowing ourselves to be magical. And what I mean by that is like really to allow ourselves the opportunity to see blessings, to be blessed, to feel like we are so much more. When we get bogged down into the material, then we get stuck in it. Some people will say, you know, I believe it when I see it, which limits you to experiencing only things that you've seen, right? And so when we can open ourselves up to saying, I'm going to believe it until I see it, I'm going to believe I am this person and I can be this person until I see it. That's embracing the unseen. I'm going to believe that the universe loves me until I see this money show up in my life somehow. That's embracing the unseen, right? I'm going to believe that life is guiding me even while things are hard, that there is a purpose to this, that there are lessons and wisdom and gifts and blessings in my experience of this. And so instead of feeling like this is just a tragedy for no reason, or instead of feeling that this is hard as a punishment, I'm going to take this as like tough love, like a boot camp. And I'm going to see that there's an unseen intention in this for me that's going to be good, not only for me for the rest of my life, but maybe even the world with what I'm going to learn with this, right? Then all of a sudden, whatever we see is just a launch pad for all of the incredible things that are heading our way from the unseen.
That's so true. So that brings us to the final point, which is your Jerry Springer moment, bringing it all together. Look how it is out there, because it is whatever it is for the moment. Changes moment by moment. Take us out with bringing it all together. How do we make that begin?
Yeah, man. I'm going to call it you, because to me, that's the focus of my work. Is we keep looking at it being our lives, right? Being like the things or the people, these external things, my income, my house,
all the things we're pointing at, and never going. And that's why three are always pointing back at us.
Right.
Hello, count your fingers.
Yeah, and that's the issue. And we set up this society where if we want to feel better, we need to eat something. We need to take a pill. We need to go and achieve something. In order to have the lives we want, we need to be, do, and have more, which allows us to always feel like we're never enough, that we're never doing enough, our income's never enough, our friends are never good enough, our house is never big enough. We set up this feeling of scarcity or inadequacy that will stay there no matter how much we achieve or how much we do. So I think that if we're going to bring it together, what I really feel is it's bringing us together. Amen. It's connecting with who we really are deep down, without the judgment or shame or limitation,
any of that,
or perceptions that we've absorbed from other people, and coming to the world, presenting to the world as being masters of our domain, allowing ourselves to feel that we want the way we want to feel, feeling good without having to earn it, feeling love and receiving love without having to be worthy of it, loving and celebrating ourselves no matter how much we're earning or how much we're achieving or growing or whatever we set as a standard for ourselves, loving our lives no matter how much we have, so that we can be perfectly happy with what we've got and receive even more. That's, to me, what's getting it all together. It's us internally becoming whole, becoming really nurturing and loving, to a place where we can handle anything that life throws at us, because we got ourselves and we know who we are and we're fully active and awake. And that, to me, is it.
That's it. Listen. It has been, I'm trying to convince Dan, everybody, you guys can help me push him over the final line of, yes, I'll do it. We have a show coming up on the 18th of March. It'll be mid-month, every month, where it's called Ask the Experts, and each expert will have a 15-minute segment where they just get in there and just bless you guys and you bless them. And I'm trying to get Dan to come into that rotation. So if you're interested in having Dan here every so often so that you can pull from his wealth of knowledge and pour into each other, put it in the comments and hopefully that will help convince him that we need him here. Listen, I want to thank you so much, Dan. Rewire Your Mind. Where can people find you to work with you, continue the dialogue with you? And say it now, and because we neglected to put it up on the screen, drop it in the comments when I send you back out, if you could. I just know somebody out there wants to continue the dialogue, and I want them to find you as quickly and easily as possible. So where would that be, Dan?
Yeah, I'm most active on Facebook these days.
Okay.
And it is Dan E.C. MENDILOW.
Which stands for?
You know what? It's because there was a Facebook glitch. I had to create a new account. And so EC stands for Empowerment Coach. It's what I used to call myself.
Okay.
Before I kind of graduated to becoming a guide. And so I'm
okay, so it's not Earl Cletus.
What's that?
I thought it was Earl Cletus.
You know, there's still time. I could change it anytime I want.
No, you don't want to do that. But you know, we'll find some kind of nickname, Pookie or something like that. Listen, sure. I want to thank you. I didn't even get to show all the pictures that I had, but I did find one of your parents.
Again, I can't see a picture if you're throwing it up there.
Can you see it now?
Not yet.
That is so weird.
There we go. Oh, man.
Yeah, and you look just like your dad.
Yeah, I do.
That's
He's
one
an
of that
old guy. Huh?
You know, when I first had that, somebody sent me one where they aged me. First, I was like, ew. But you know what? I made it my profile picture, my screensaver on my phone, because I would look at him and I go, I can't wait to meet you. I would look at him and I would say, wow, what would you tell me if you could start talking from that picture right now? And so I keep it handy. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I'm embracing every day that is moving us forward towards the finish line of purpose. I want to thank you, Dan MENDILOW. I want to thank all of you for taking time out of your day, out of your moment, to be with us, to show your soul, and to allow us to show you ours. Join me tomorrow morning, God willing, at 8 a.m. Central. I'll be out on the front porch waiting for you to pull up when Jim Case, Adventures in Truth, livecast host, and also author of a great new book, which we'll get into tomorrow morning, will be here sharing his light and love with all of us. And you come and do the same. Where two or more come together, great things will happen. Get out there and remember, be the blessing you'd like to receive. Be the gift to the world, again, that you'd like to receive. Dan, always a pleasure. Think about coming back and being a part of Ask the Experts. In the meantime, you guys head over to Dan MENDILOW, at Dan MENDILOW, all things Dan, E.C. MENDILOW. You won't regret it. In the meantime, get out there and be the best you can be. That's all we can ask. Do your best, be your best, and leave the rest to what is greater than all of us. Dan, thank you. Bye, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow.
You. Bye, guys.
Before you get it, baby, show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Boy, I'm standing right here holding up a sign, shamelessly displaying my state of mind.